As a kid, I grew up near the ocean on the East Coast, immersed in nature. Being close to the water gives you a certain perspective on the world. You see how powerful nature can be, how interconnected everything is. The summer of 2005 was a particularly devastating hurricane season. News coverage bounced between the utter devastation and the fact that rising sea level temperatures were only going to increase the intensity and frequency of these storms. That stayed with me. And early in my studies, I found myself fascinated by the question, how do we actually make climate solutions work in the real world? Because good intentions aren't enough. The solutions need to work economically. That curiosity eventually led me into renewable energy, where I spent a decade developing utility-scale wind and solar projects across the US. Renewables are an incredibly important piece of the climate puzzle. They're transforming how we produce energy. Renewables alone aren't enough. In 2024, my partner and I stepped away from our careers to pursue a lifelong dream to travel. Over 15 months, we backpacked through 30 countries, expanding our global perspective. I knew I wanted to come back into climate work, but how? Where? Continue developing renewables? As a country, we sure need it. But in those travels, I stepped outside of my comfort zone personally. I stepped away from my dream job in search of something new. And in those travels, I noticed the ports, refineries, cement plants, power generators. That's critical to human development. This infrastructure not only drives the global economy and improves people's standard of living, but also isn't being replaced anytime soon. These are what people often call hard-to-abate industries, and that left me with a bigger question. If we're serious about the climate crisis of reducing the greenhouse gas emissions responsible for increasing global sea temperatures, what can we do for industries like these? So I gave myself a challenge upon my return. Speak with at least 100 people across the energy and climate industries, engineers, entrepreneurs, investors, operators, to understand that next frontier professionally. And that's how I eventually came across frost carbon. After all those conversations, I was pretty sure that I had a good sense of the carbon capture solutions that were starting to be adopted. But then I learned something that completely changed how I thought about the problem. The idea behind frost carbon does not depend on bespoke chemistry or entirely new materials. It builds on decades of cryogenic separation, the same class of physics used in industrial air separation plants around the world. It was almost a Sherlock Holmes moment. Sometimes the answer's hidden in plain sight. Frost Carbon is partnering with the most important industries to reduce emissions while continuing to operate, and if you can believe it, improving their bottom line. It's a win-win. And I'm still having those conversations. If this topic interests you, and if you are working on challenges related to industrial decarbonization, I would love to hear from you. Consider this an open invitation to be conversation number 101.